Hi everyone, I am here today with Barbara Ratner. Barbara is a friend of mine and a neighbor. We just live a few blocks away from each other, and she's agreed to be interviewed for our next Friday interview session with our Booth Guild members. So Barbara is originally from Lafayette, Indiana, but she's been in Atlanta for the last 40 years. So Barbara,
Yes.
I understand that you were recently in Nova Scotia on vacation.
It is true. Yes, it was an amazing experience. It was also a bit of a disaster trip. We had, I don't mean to be laughing, it isn't funny. We had 2 family deaths with funerals attached just at the point when we were so far away from anything that we couldn't get back, but it ended our trip prematurely. So because it was a mostly driving, part flying trip. So we drove back at high speed. But I'm totally in love with Nova Scotia and want to go back and do it again. I was with a man whose work I've admired for years, and I hope it was helpful. I don't know yet, because I've only painted one little thing since then.
Well, tell me about him. Who is this person?
Richard Russell Sneary. He
right.
has a background similar to mine. I've known him for years as an architectural renderer, which is what I was. And I always loved his work. Maybe the most. I liked his colors the most. And so I was eager finally at this late date to do a workshop with him.
So were you able to do the workshop despite?
Yes.
Oh,
the workshop was accomplished, and I think, and Nova Scotia rained on us 2 of 3 days basically.
Wow.
But I did some gray skies, and that was fun, and doing watercolor in the rain gives you some interesting effects. It was an amazing trip. It really was. And my husband drove 2,500 miles. I mean, I'm laughing. I do not know why, but it was great. It was really fun.
What an adventure.
Yeah. We learned about Acadian food.
Okay.
And we went to an amazing restaurant that is in the middle of absolutely nowhere on the Bay of Fundy. And they have one dinner a year when everything they serve has been foraged from the land around them. And that was just incredibly interesting and delicious. And
God, what a trip.
It was a trip.
I'm a little jealous. I was in Montreal over July 4th.
I wanted to ask you about Montreal.
It turns out Canada's not as cold in the summer as you think it is. It was 90 degrees and humid. We could have stayed in town for that. I hope you got at least cooler temperatures.
It was like 55 to 60 and driving wind and
perfect.
Rain.
Oh, well, except for that.
Yeah, but it was good. I had only brought a sweatshirt, which wasn't really enough.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Well, so let's talk about painting. Tell me what motivates you to paint. I know you're a watercolorist. But what gets you? What prompts you to get to the?
I have a hard time with that sometimes. I'm used to deadlines. I'm used to people telling me that something is due next Tuesday, and that motivates me. I'm highly motivated by deadlines. When left to my own devices, I will fiddle around for a long time. I need to have a goal kind of established for me. I'm grappling with this right now, and I mean, one thing that definitely does motivate me is I like doing travel journals, because I like to write and I like to do snarky little drawings that go with it. Not pretty drawings at all, just little comments, ink and watercolor. Yeah. And that helps because I'm stimulated while I'm traveling. It's it's all new. Yeah. And I do forget things, so I want to write it all down and do little diagrams that explain it to me years later.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
So over the years, have you always painted in watercolor? Have you tried other mediums?
When I came to Atlanta, I applied for a job as an architect, and I applied for a job as an architectural illustrator, a renderer. And in the end, I took the rendering job. And I didn't have any experience painting at all. They took me because I could draw and I knew how to construct perspectives, which at that time was done by hand. And they let me try everything. So I did all different media. I tried acrylics. The only one I didn't really do was pastels. I did colored pencils. I did airbrush, a lot of airbrush.
Okay.
And in the end, I loved the watercolor. And it really had to do with that man, Sneery, because I received a brochure of his that he just mailed at random to big architecture firms around the country. And it had one of his illustrations on the cover. And I thought, wow, I wish I could do that.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating. Did you tell him that? Does he know this?
I don't think he knows that. I mean, I told him I wanted the secret. I came to get his secrets, you know. But no, I didn't. I don't think I told him that. I should, because he's an old guy like I am.
It would make his day.
Yeah,
I think.
But yeah, he's terrific and inclined toward the same kind of detailed things that I fall into.
Yeah.
So.
So I understand that you are doing, that you're going to be speaking at our next Booth Artist Guild meeting. Tell me about that.
Well, I really just started working on that. Maria Valderak asked me to do it because I draw buildings, because I draw buildings fairly easily. Well, the obvious answer is I've done it for 40 years, basically. But I do know a few things about perspective, but there are sort of two categories I can show you, and this is what I'm struggling with in the presentation. One is there are tricks that any painter can use to make things look a little more realistic. And then there's the whole world of how you construct a perspective, which nobody cares about because the computers can do it, but I think it's really cool. It's, it's a graphic technique that's very interesting to look at and has a long history. So I was going to talk about both those things.
Well, that sounds fascinating.
Well, I hope so. We'll see.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to pull some slides together, and I have a bunch of I have a flat file full of original drawings that I did where I constructed the perspective of buildings all around Atlanta.
That's so cool.
It is kind of cool.
It's very cool.
Some of which were built, not all of them, but.
So when did you join the Booth Artist Guild? Do you remember?
I think I'm in my second year.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I found out about it through the Virginia Highland Plein Air Painters. I didn't know it existed. I knew the booth was there.
Right.
And had been to it a couple times, but I wasn't aware of the guild.
Yeah. So tell me about any of I know you said Richard Sneery is one of your influences, but do you have any others that you look to? Like when I get stuck in a painting, I go to the California Impressionist to unlock the secrets. Where do you go?
I have a California painter of my own, and that's Michael Reardon. He's another illustrator who shifted into gallery work, and he's traveled all over the world and done paintings, and he does workshops online. I honestly, this doesn't help with my work, but I like to lose track. I like posters. I like really graphic things.
Yeah. I
like Manet because Manet tends to be graphic.
I mean, say no more.
Yeah.
I'm a Manet girl all the way.
There you go.
But I also like that drama. That I feel like Toulouse-Lautrec has such drama.
Right. A lot of black and white with just a little color. And that really appeals to me.
Yeah, me too.
And I think architecture is really, it's a kind of monkish profession. They don't like anything that's extravagant. They like everything very tasteful, low-key, emotionally, and so forth. And so black and white and little accents of color appeal to me.
Right. So that's where you get your drama.
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So I know that you're also a plein air painter. I would love to hear two things that you love about plein air and two things that drive you crazy about plein air.
Plein air, makes me focus like nothing else, because you just have to do it right now. No excuses if you want to catch whatever it was that drew you to that scene. You can't get up and go get another cup of coffee, basically, or, write that email.
Right.
But I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated by dragging all the stuff around.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's probably the biggest thing. I'm frustrated that doing watercolor, the whole framing thing just drives me nuts, to be honest.
Yes.
And doing watercolor, it's especially fraught.
It seems like you've found some pretty clever, creative ways to manage it.
I have tried. I'm working on that, but yeah, that's the worst of it. No, I love painting outdoors.
Yeah,
I have discovered that.
Okay, so I have some either or questions for you.
Okay.
This is the would you rather game. Would you rather paint trees or would you rather paint rocks?
Rocks.
Why?
Trees are hard. I find trees really, really hard, and God knows I've painted a lot of trees. And
Okay.
Rocks are easy.
Okay.
No
Would you
problem.
rather paint sand dunes or mountains?
Probably mountains.
Yeah.
I can think of the colors I would use for sure with mountains as opposed to sand dunes.
Yeah, me too. I think I would choose mountains too. How about a sunrise or sunset?
Neither.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
How about fish or flowers?
Oh, fish.
Okay, tell me about fish.
I love animals. I had tropical fish when I was a kid. I have looked at fish closely. I had a really great conversation with a guy at the Top of Georgia competition who has a fish pond, and it's full of fairly large, interesting fish.
Ooh.
Like gar. He likes muskies. Anyway, I kind of know about fish.
Okay.
And they're amazing.
Okay. I'm so glad I asked.
There isn't a big market in fish paintings, I think.
Okay, how about water or sky?
Probably water. Tricky. Yeah, very tricky.
It
Never
is tricky.
successfully done it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. And then my favorite question, and I already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Chickens or cows?
Oh no, that's hard.
Oh, I thought for sure I knew the answer to this.
I've done lots of chickens recently, but I like cows. I mean, I'm very drawn to all kinds of animals, so I'm happy to paint any of those, really.
Okay. So tell me, just quickly, what you've enjoyed about being a part of what have you enjoyed during your time as a member of the Booth Artists Guild?
Well, I've met people mostly. I mean, I've met other people who are doing the same, who are interested in the same sorts of things I'm interested in. And it has drawn me up to the Booth Museum more often than I was going, which is, really, really nice. And again, I like horses. So the Booth Museum is, great fun for me.
Well, Barbara, we're really looking forward to you speaking at the next guild meeting. Thank you so much for interviewing with us today, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Beth.